It's the mid to late 90s. You're homesick from school. Mom and dad are both at work, any siblings are stuck far away. You've got the run of the house to yourself. In between bouts of throwing up and trying to keep down plain toast or saltine crackers, you're enjoying the freedom, as much as your illness will allow, to play Mario 64 on the big family TV for once. Eventually, though, you need a break. You've got to lie down for a little while. Even just sitting on the floor in front of the TV, you can feel your head spinning. You collapse onto the couch, wrap yourself in blankets, and begin to channel surf, hoping to find something entertaining yet mind-numbing enough to hopefully fall asleep to. And as your eyes close, you hear the chanting of the crowds, the cry that started an entire genre of daytime TV. The Jerry Springer Show is the stuff of legend. It pioneered the subgenre of trash TV, taking the old talk show format, which really had its peak in the late 80s, and sensationalizing it. Talk shows are all about the concept of spontaneous conversation. Sometimes a celebrity might show up to shill their next book or movie or whatever, but the conversation itself is free-flowing. During late-night talk shows, you'll often get comedy sets before the guests arrive. During daytime talk shows, the conversations are often more mundane, focusing on the lives of viewer call-ins or attendees. It's not like the Jerry Springer Show was the first ever trashy talk show. Anytime you involve randos from the audience, you have the potential for things to turn south very quick. But at some point, everybody realized that the best episodes of these shows were the ones where the hosts basically trotted out human trash for the audience to mock.
I just got one more comment for the transsexual on the end. I don't know why, but why is your bulge in your pants bigger than your...
Come up here, come up here, come up here, get the best of both worlds. I'll beat you like a woman and beat you like a man. Come on and do it. Come on and do it. What you
The Maury Show used to cover tons of different topics, but eventually honed in on determining the paternity of the children of really disgusting women, who would bring in tons of men for testing, all of whom could have possibly knocked her up. The whole "you are not the father" thing became a meme, specifically because it was what Maury did the most, and Maury did it the most because it was the most popular with the viewers. Similarly, Geraldo came to fame for featuring an episode where Jewish and anti-racism activists shared a stage with KKK members, leading to a huge on-camera brawl where the audience and even the host, Geraldo Rivera, got involved.
Get sick and tired of seeing Uncle Tom here sucking up, trying to be a white
Go ahead, Roy, go ahead.
Now, let me tell you.
Sit down, man.
Hey, you gotta be kidding. You gotta be kidding. You gotta be kidding. Hey, hold it. Hold it.
Sit down.
Geraldo actually had his nose broken during the fight when he was hit with a chair. But the most famous of them all had to be the Jerry Springer Show. If you were stuck at home during the day in the 90s and you wanted to watch two redneck brothers kick the shit out of each other because they were both fucking their sister,
please meet Heather. Now, Heather, tell us about this bizarre relationship you have.
Well, I'm pregnant with my brother's, I'm pregnant by my brother.
So that's incest. How did this come about? I mean, I know how you get pregnant, but how did it come about that you would be sleeping with your brother?
Well, I met him and I just fell in love with him and I slept with him for 3 months and I went out with him and then I didn't like him no more until I get out of my life.
You love his other brother now?
Yes, I do.
Let's bring him out. Here's George.
or white nationalists fight with black people.
Here they are.
Or trans people fooling straight guys into fucking them.
But what I want to let you know is, I'm a man.
What do you mean you a man?
Like what I said, I'm a man. You can tell, sweetheart.
No, I can't tell.
You can tell.
I can tell.
You can tell.
I can tell.
You can tell.
Jerry Springer was the show to watch. There was nothing quite like huddling up with a bowl of ice cream to soothe a sore throat while you watch people's sorry lives degenerate on stage. Yeah, it's trashy. It's probably not all that good for you to watch, but damn, was it fun. Jerry Springer wholeheartedly leaned into the conceit of the show, presenting it at one point as the worst TV show of all time, and it was probably my most forbidden guilty pleasure growing up. My parents would have killed me if they knew that this was what I was watching while I was at home sick.
Look, I'm twice the woman you are.
Oh, you know what? Let me tell you, you know what? Let me stoop down to your level and talk to you. You think that's funny, breaking up a happy home? Everywhere you go, this man flocking for you? Flocking for what, a chicken?
Yeah, a scandal did come out that some of them were just hired actors, especially in the later years. There's definitely a few familiar faces on there.
All right, here is your fiance, Alan. Alan, welcome.
How you doing, Jerry?
That's not a good sign. You come out, here's your fiance, she won't kiss you?
Yeah, I'm kind of weary as to what's going on, Jerry.
Well, think about it, you're here.
But there is no way that 700-pound man that they forklifted out of the side of the house is a paid actor. That wasn't Brendan Fraser in the whale suit or anything. That guy was real.
We can start now. Take down the wall.
Down the wall. Oh. Okay, hold on. Right under the window, Jerry.
And you can tell that at least some of the people on the show, they're not actors. They look like they've got some really hard miles on them. I guess, depending on where you are in life, an Applebee's gift card is a pretty appealing payment. And I'm talking about it today because, sadly, Jerry Springer has just died. This video will come out tomorrow, but I'm writing the script at the exact moment I found out, around noon on April 27th, 2023. Jerry Springer was born in 1944 in the London Underground while it was being used as a bomb shelter during World War II. His family were German Jewish refugees to the UK. Most of his extended family died in the Holocaust. When he was 4 years old, his family moved to America, and he grew up in New York City. He got a bachelor's degree in political science in 1965 and a law degree in '68. He worked with Senator Robert F. Kennedy's re-election campaign until Kennedy was assassinated, and afterward transitioned into private law practice. Springer ran for Congress as a Democrat in 1970 and lost, but came very close to winning, which was very impressive considering that he was in a traditionally red district. He was elected to the Cincinnati City Council in 1971. At this point, Springer seemed to have a bumpy yet promising political career. That all came crashing down when, in 1974, it was discovered that he had solicited a prostitute.
Engaged in activities which, at least to me, are questionable. These actions have weighed heavily on my conscience, and early last week, I contacted the FBI and voluntarily answered all inquiries of what I had done and of what I had knowledge.
Springer was caught because, get this, he paid her using a check with his name on it. You know, those things that are tied to your bank account and signed personally by you? Springer kept trying to reboot his political career past this point, but it basically petered out. By 1982, the former rising star was finishing a distant third place in the Ohio governor Democratic primary.
I'm Jerry Springer, and I want to be your governor. Now, after sharing some specific solutions for our unemployment and education problems in this state, it looks like the nomination is finally within grasp, which makes what I'm about to tell you even more difficult. Some 9 years ago, I spent time with a woman I shouldn't have, and I paid her with a check. I wish I hadn't done that.
Meanwhile, Jerry Springer's broadcast career began with a spot on a university radio station while he was still a student. He had a commentary show called The Springer Memorandum, where he talked about the day's political issues. This format carried on into his adulthood, where he actually continued to broadcast the same show even while he held public office at a local Cincinnati radio station. After the collapse of his political career, he spent the 80s as a mid-level news anchor, unknown to the rest of the United States, but very popular in the Cincinnati area, earning him 10 Emmy Awards for his nightly commentary section, The Final Thought, another format he would carry forward with him for later use on The Jerry Springer Show. Springer would continue in this capacity until 1993, but the monumental success of The Jerry Springer Talk Show caused him to abandon all of his other projects and focus on The Big Earner. The first season of The Jerry Springer Show hit the scene in 1991, and it began as an outgrowth of Springer's other forays into radio and television news, a serious discussion about politics.
You knew when you were talking with the Iranians about getting the hostages back, that is exactly what the President of the United States had said on television. We will not deal with the terrorists. He was telling other countries, please don't deal with the Iranians, don't deal with the terrorists.
Yeah, and even to this day, in his own memoirs, President Reagan says, we really didn't trade arms for hostages because we were dealing with the Iranians, and the Iranians weren't the captors.
The show was more successful than any other of Springer's ventures, but it didn't turn into the sensation we all know it as until 1994, when the people behind the show noticed that the most popular episodes were also the most sensationalistic. Going forward, The Jerry Springer Show would shift away from real-world politics and towards the drama and sleaze it is most well known for today. The Jerry Springer Show would last until 2018, with 27 seasons of trash under its belt. After it hit the 2000s, though, it kind of became samey. Every episode seemed to be about incestual relationships, or adultery, or surprise, I'm trans! And as far as I can tell, a lot of it has actually been lost to time. I can't find season box sets for sale anywhere, on any medium, DVD, VHS, whatever, and various streaming platforms only have a few episodes available. There's no Jerry Springer full set torrent either, and I went looking deep. If anybody knows where one is, please fill me in. Probably the craziest event in the entire history of the show was when one of the women who appeared on one of those infidelity episodes of Jerry Springer was actually murdered by her husband after they got back home. That led to a very public, high-profile lawsuit against the show, which ultimately was settled. Springer never lost his desire to do more mainstream work, though. He took a short-lived job in 1997 as a newscaster, but was let go after only 2 evenings. He wanted to run for one of Ohio's senator seats after seeing the success of Al Franken as well. All of these ventures failed because of his association with The Jerry Springer Show, which, while massively popular to the viewers of trash TV, basically made him a pariah everywhere else. He occasionally took a few other TV spots here and there. America's Got Talent, WWE Wrestling, The Price is Right. He even hosted a completely new show after his retirement, Judge Jerry, which is exactly what it sounds like. Jerry Springer in the role of Judge Judy. But none of it really stuck, not the same way that the eponymous Jerry Springer Show did. When I look at Jerry Springer, yeah, there's a lot of good childhood memories of laughing at people whose lives were in complete and total ruins, but I also see a man who, at one point, had the beginnings of a legitimate political career, and due to a combination of personal missteps and bad luck, had to take the sleazy tabloid path instead. It's actually very similar to the trajectory of a lot of people online, in fact. I remember Warski's show beginning with legitimate debate and discussion before devolving into him eating mustard on camera and lighting his nipples on fire for super chats. In fact, that was the ultimate fate of the Morning Kumite and a lot of the other internet blood sports shows. The people who owned these channels were a bit too dirty to do the kind of high-minded stuff they wanted to do, and ended up degrading into trashy content in an attempt to keep the show going. And you can look at a bunch of the bread tubers and see the exact same kind of degeneration happening now that the internet's lefty arc is coming to a close. Vosh used to debate real ideas constantly. Now he just sits in his fortress arc and virtue signals. When he does actually talk to anybody outside of his wheelhouse, like Thomas Bogardus or Brianna Grey-Joy, he gets absolutely fucking destroyed. Meanwhile, all of those crumb tubers who rode Vosh's coattails into a tiny drip of a career, they're now all floundering and grasping for relevance. Hell, Destiny's online career is booming right now, even as he focuses on more drama. But, and no offense to him, I find his politics stuff way more interesting. What I'm getting at is, for people who want to engage in actual political discussion, there seems to be a pretty common pitfall, and that is when politics turns into drama. It's pretty easy to see the path of degradation. Politics is a group debate and decision-making in such a way that power relations are formed between individual actors in that system. Drama is a series of events, often emotionally charged, that arise out of the power relations formed between individual actors. They are related concepts, but ultimately different. Drama is more about people, politics is more about systems. Drama tends to be smaller and pettier, while politics tends to affect more people and involve more real power. And it's very easy for a political discussion to become a drama discussion when the subject of the conversation switches from the ideas to the people presenting them. I think that's why all of those YouTubers and streamers that I mentioned fell down the drama hole. Hell, I've fallen down it too sometimes. I occasionally cover drama when it piques my interest. It's like a dessert. You can have it once in a while, and it can complement the main course nicely, but you can't have it for every single meal. Jerry Springer seems to be the exception to the rule. Everybody else who went as sleazy as him died off, so I guess he found the one niche where it worked. In any case, rest in peace, Jerry. I and many others appreciated your show for what it was. a dumpster fire that burned brightly for nearly 3 decades.